Well, hello students. I hope you all are well and in good health. Very well. So in previous video lecture, we were talking about the classification. We saw different methods of classification. Okay. And prior to that video lecture, we were talking about the nomenclature. Great. In this particular video lecture, we are going to focus on the taxonomical aids. But before we start this topic, let's have a recap. Okay. And we were saying classification, and that we have seen about the taxonomical hierarchy. We have seen the different taxonomical categories, and namely what we saw is your kingdom and then division, phylum, or then followed by class, order, family, genus, and species. Correct? Now, if you read NCERT book, there is this table given. Okay. Now, this table actually gives you glimpse of these 7 taxonomical categories with example of these 4 organisms, out of which 2 are from the animal kingdom and 2 are from the plant kingdom. Okay, so let's have a look at it. It's pretty simple, but all of you who are targeting NEET, I would advise you to just take a good look of this table and try to memorize these uh, phylum or class or division of all these 4 subjects. Okay, so it is useful because all the data that is given in NCERT book, that is important for us. Okay, so let's see one by one. So this table first talks about man. Okay, so the man or human beings, the biological name is Homo sapiens. We all know it, correct? We are animals, so we fall in animal kingdom. So kingdom is Animalia. The phylum or division, since we are animal, there will be phylum, right? So human beings fall in the phylum Chordata, correct? Class is Mammalia, order is Primata, family is Hominidae, genus is Homo, and species is Sapiens, and therefore the scientific name is Homo sapiens. Okay, so do remember. See, I know most of all will be knowing the biological name Homo sapiens, and since you know the name, you know the genus as well, that is Homo. Okay, and since you know genus, the family is easy to remember because the family is Hominidae. Okay, so Homo, genus is Homo, family is Hominidae. The order is Primata because we are primates. Okay, class is Mammalia, phylum is Chordata, and animal is the kingdom is Animalia. Okay, so for humans it is quite easy. The next example given is housefly. Okay, now remember housefly and Drosophila melanogaster are 2 different things. Drosophila melanogaster is fruit fly. Okay, in biology we talk a lot about Drosophila, but here in this example we are going to talk about housefly, that is Musca domestica. Okay, now since the name is Musca domestica, so first name is generic name, so genus is Musca, family is Musidae, order Diptera, class Insecta, and phylum is Arthropoda. Okay, just try to remember it. Okay, mango, Magnifera indica, you know it. Genus is Magnifera. Family is Anacardiaceae. Now it is something that you have not heard before. Okay, so it's a name, so can't do a lot about it. You have to memorize it. Anacardiaceae. Order is Spindales. Class is Dicotyledone because it is a dicot plant. And division, see it's a plant, so division, no phylum. Okay, division is Angiospermae because it is an angiosperm, not gymnosperm. Okay, great. What about wheat? Now wheat, the scientific name is Triticum aestivum. Okay, this is the same wheat that we eat. Okay, genus is again Triticum, family is Poaceae. Okay, now earlier this Poaceae family was also known as Gramini family, but now we stick to Poaceae. Order is Poales. Class Monocotyledone because it belongs to monocot. Okay, and division is Angiospermae because again it is an angiosperm. Well, so just have a glimpse of it. I'm not saying you have to memorize the complete table, but at least have a fair idea. Okay, great. Okay, so since we have seen this table, let's start with our main objective of this video lecture, that is taxonomical aid. So the first question is, what are taxonomical aids? Okay, so taxonomical aids, okay, taxonomical aid are things or documents that help a taxonomist. Okay, remember, taxonomist is a scientist or a person who do taxonomy of any organism, right? So the things or documents that help a taxonomist to identify and classify an organism correctly is known as taxonomical aid. Correct? Aid का मतलब क्या होता है? सहायता. Like you already use first aid, first medical help, right, is called first aid. वैसे aid का मतलब है help. Okay, taxonomical aid मतलब ऐसी चीजें which are going to help in doing taxonomy. Okay, so all such things are documents that help a taxonomist in identifying and classifying an organism correctly are known as taxonomical aids. So let's see what are these things or documents one by one, okay? Especially what are the taxonomical aids that are discussed in the NCERT, okay, which is relevant for us. So the first one is herbarium, okay? Now let's see what a herbarium is. Now, herbarium, it is a storehouse, okay? Try to understand that it is a storehouse. It is a building in which you keep all of your herbarium sheets, okay, where you're going to store them, okay. So the herbarium is a storehouse of dried, pressed, and preserved plant specimen on herbarium sheets, okay. So herbarium is a storehouse for the dried, pressed, and preserved plant specimen on a herbarium sheet, okay. Now what it looks like, okay, let's see. Okay, so this is how a herbarium looks like. So this is the storehouse. Can you see there are racks, and these racks are filled with files? Okay. Uh, Actually, this image is from the NCERT book. So if you open your book and go to the first chapter, you will find this. Okay. So herbarium is a storehouse. And in this storehouse, there are many files, and each file contains various herbarium sheets. Let's see. So files and files are going to contain these herbarium sheets. So how this herbarium sheet look like? Let's see. So this is a particular sheet. It is one of the herbarium sheet. Okay. Now, if you see this herbarium sheet, what you find is it has dried, pressed, and preserved plant part, actual plant part or plant specimen. Okay. In this particular case, it is a herb. Which herb? It is strawberry herb. Okay, strawberry का plant नहीं होता है. It is a herbaceous plant. So what you are seeing here is a strawberry herb or strawberry plant का specimen. Okay. So this is a particular herbarium sheet. Now things to note for you is the typical herbarium sheet has a dimension of 11.5 inches wide and around 16.5 inches in length. Remember these facts, okay? So a typical herbarium sheet has dimension of 16.5 by 11.5 inches, okay? Now on this page, you take the specimen, keep it, press it, okay, and dry it so that it gets dried, pressed, and preserved on that sheet. And this is how you prepare the herbarium sheet. Now, apart from doing this thing, there is another crucial thing that you need to do to prepare a herbarium sheet, and that is to label them. Okay, labeling is one of the most crucial part. Okay, now can you see this sheet? If you see the sheet, on the lower right corner, you are finding a label, right? Now, this label should contain certain things. And what are they? First, it should contain the local, English, and the scientific name of that plant or that plant specimen. Okay. So first thing the label should contain is the name of the plant specimen in all these three languages, that is English, the local language, and the scientific language, right? Scientific language as in it should be the scientific name of that particular sample or specimen. Okay, what else it should contain? The label, it should contain the date and place of collection. Okay, it is very essential that there should be date and place of collection of the sample. Okay, this is to rule out any geographical variation. Okay, great. What is the third thing? It should, or herbarium should must contain the collector's name. Okay, that is mandatory. So these three things are absolutely mandatory. It should have the name in all the three languages. It should have name in place of the collection and the name of the collector. Okay, so this is a typical herbarium sheet. Now, see how herbarium helps. So the herbarium are actually documented plant specimens. So suppose you find a plant and you think that this plant is close to a particular species or a particular family of plants, then you go to herbarium and take out the file of that particular family or genus or whatever you think appropriate, and try to match them with the plant specimen into the herbarium. If it is a match, then it belongs to that particular family. Okay, so this is how the herbarium seeds give you a quick referral system for identification and classification of plants. Okay, so since they are providing you a system, they are helping the taxonomist. That's why herbarium is a taxonomical aid. The second taxonomical aid is botanical gardens. Okay, botanical gardens, what are these? These are specialized gardens that could have collection of both endemic and exotic plant species. Okay, now when we are talking endemic and exotic, what do we mean? Many of you may know, may not know. Okay, now endemic are the species which belong to that particular place or who are native of that area. Okay, so that is endemic. Say for example, the Bengal tiger is endemic to India. Okay, the Asiatic lion is endemic to India. However, if we talk about African elephant, they are not native of India. So if there is any African elephant in India, for us it will be an exotic species because it is not native to us. Okay, so I hope you remember endemic and exotic. Okay, so the botanical gardens are specialized gardens that have collection of both endemic and exotic plant species in living conditions, right? They are living specimen, and since they are living specimen, these botanical gardens provide you a referral system so that you can go there and compare with the living specimen of the plant. And this is how the botanical gardens help in taxonomy. And that's why they are taxonomical aid. Okay, great. So what are the examples of botanical gardens? Since it is given in NCERT, it becomes again important for us. Please do remember, there are three mentions and they are important for you, especially for a need point of view. The first one is Botanical Garden at Kew in London, England, right? It is the largest botanical garden in the world at Kew, London, England. Okay. In India, however, if you talk about the largest botanical garden is in Howrah, and its name is Indian Botanical Garden, Howrah, West Bengal, India. Now, apart from that, there are other notable botanical gardens, and one of them that has been mentioned here is National Botanical Research Institute. In short, we call it NBRI. Okay, National Botanical Research Institute, NBRI, Lucknow, Uttar Pradesh. Okay, so these are the notable botanical gardens. You know? One we saw global level and two at the India level. So do remember about these three examples of botanical garden. Now, the third What taxonomical aid is geological parks, or we commonly call them zoo. Now, what are these? These are specialized places where both endemic and exotic animal species are kept in a protected environment. See, it is very important. The protected environment word is important, right? So, in zoological parks, we keep animals in a protected environment so that nobody can harm them or can uh, prey them. Okay. Plus, additionally, in zoological parks, we take care of them. Again, just like botanical gardens, the zoological parks are the places where both endemic and exotic living specimens are kept. Okay, so all these animals are living condition. They are in living condition. So zoological parks acts as a taxonomical aid because you can go there and compare, or you can study about a particular living animal specimen. Okay, now uh, again, example is important. However, in NCERT there has been no example as such, but we are going to look at one of the example which I find important, that is the most, or I can say the oldest zoo, and that is London Zoo. Okay, now apart from geological parks, museums are also one of the taxonomical aids. Now, what are these museums, and what do we mean by museum here? Here we mean the biological museum. Okay, now the again question is, what are biological museums? Well, if you go in a school or college or university, what you will find that they have this collection of preserved plant and animal specimens. Okay, especially they have these animal specimens kept in jars. Okay, they are preserved in a liquid. This liquid is mostly the formaldehyde, or yeah, mostly the formaldehyde. Okay, so these dead and preserved animal and plant specimen are called biological museums, and they also act as a taxonomical aid because you can study them, compare them. That will help you in doing uh, the taxonomy, or classifying and identifying organisms. Okay, great. Okay, so the next taxonomical aid that we are going to talk about is key. Okay, now this is very important. Many times there has been question from this particular taxonomical aid, that is key. Okay, so pay attention to it. What is key? Now, key is a tool. Now, it is a tool to identify organisms on the basis of their similarities or dissimilarities in their observable characters or features. Okay, now, so it is a tool. Key is a tool. Mostly when we do the numerical taxonomy, then we use key. Okay, key helps in that, and we generate this key many a times, and this is generated on the basis of a pair of contrasting characters which are known as couplets. Okay, so key is being developed. So every key is actually a list of a pair of contrasting characters, and each pair of contrasting character is known as a couplet. Okay, now this whole document, these contrasting characters are used to identify organisms. Okay, and that's why key is a tool. We are going to understand through an example. Okay, now say for example, I'm taking two sections, monocot and dicot. Okay, and I'm taking one character. This character is called venation. Okay, now just to let you know what venation is, if you find a leaf, what you see in a leaf, that there are veins. Okay, how these veins are arranged in a particular leaf is called venation. Okay, now mainly we see that the venation can either be parallel or reticulate. Parallel as in there will be veins which will be parallel to each other in a leaf. So there will be many veins which all will be parallel to each other. Whereas reticulate venation is a network like venation. So there is not parallel, there is one midrib, and that will be dividing and dividing and dividing to form a network-like structure. And this kind of venation is called reticulate. Okay. Now, commonly, parallel venation is found in monocots, whereas reticulate venation is found in dicot. Right. Now, see, there is only one character and it has two contrasting features, parallel or reticulate. The character is venation and there are two contrasting features to it, either parallel or reticulate. So this one pair of contrasting characters or features is called couplet. This is called couplet. Now, suppose you have a plant, okay, and you pluck a leaf, or you see the leaf of this plant and you find the venation is reticulate type. So obviously in this list or in this document, what will you do? You will tick the reticulate, or you will pick the reticulate. So the acceptance or rejection of one particular contrasting character of a couplet is called a lead. Okay, so on this basis you got a lead that this plant should be dicot. Getting it? So key, contrasting characters, couplet and lead. Now just to further understand, I'm taking another character. Now say this time I'm taking the character as number of cotyledons. Okay, so suppose we are going to study how many cotyledons are present in the seed of this particular plant. Okay, what are the contrasting characters? The number of cotyledons can either be 1 or could be 2. Okay, now if the subject plant has 2 cotyledons, then it will be what? Dicot, and this will be the second lead. And understand? So every time when you accept or reject a particular character in a key, this is called lead. You get a lead, first lead, second lead, third lead, and so on. And on the basis of this percentage of leads or percentage of match, you decide that this particular plant should belong to one or the other group. Okay, now this whole such a document or such a table which consists of these couplets is called key. Remember this. Okay, so this is key. Now let us understand the other taxonomical aid, that is called catalog. Now what a catalog is? Catalog is a small booklet, or it is an index that contains information regarding all published literature related to a particular group or species. Okay, so what a catalog is, or maybe not only group or species, maybe a family or order. Okay, so about a particular taxon or category. Okay, so it is a index. It is an index, or it is a small booklet that will give you or guide you that you can find relevant information about this particular group at this literature or in that literature or in this book or in that book. So catalog is a list where you can find the all literature, list of literature regarding a particular taxon or group or anything. Okay, so this is catalog. Apart from catalog, so the another taxonomical aid that we are going to talk about is monograph. Now monograph is again a document that contains detailed information. Okay, it is not index, it is a detailed information about one taxon. Okay, so catalog is just an index, whereas monograph is the document which is going to contain detailed information about one particular taxon or one species. Okay, it depends what kind of monograph it is. Now the next taxonomical aid that we are going to talk about is flora. Now what is flora? Again, it is a document containing information regarding habitat and distribution of all plant species in a given area. Okay, so flora is again a document that contains the information of all plant species, okay, in a particular area. So you can say it is a list of all the plant species found in that area. That is flora. Similarly, there is another document which is called fauna. Now, fauna is a document containing information regarding habitat and distribution of all animal species in an area. Okay, so flora and fauna are two documents. Flora is about plant species, and fauna about animal species. How you're going to remember? Flora, flower, so plant. Fauna, animals. Okay, great. Now, the last taxonomical aid that we have to study in this chapter is the manuals. Okay, what is manual? Again, it is a document, and this document contains the list of all species found in that area. Okay, is found in that area. So found in that area. So what you can see here is manual is actually flora plus fauna, right? If you club both the flora and fauna, you will make a manual of that area. Okay, so what we have studied as a taxonomical aid, let's summarize once again. We studied about herbarium, we studied about the botanical gardens, we studied about zoo, about museum, we talked about key, we talked about catalog, we talked about monograph, we talked about flora, fauna, and manuals. Okay, so these all are taxonomical aids. So in this particular chapter, this is all we have to study. So we have seen about the characters of living. Okay, we saw what are the general features and what are the characteristic features of living. Then we started talking about the biodiversity. Then we talked about taxonomy, why there is a need of taxonomy. We spoke about the different steps of taxonomy, that is identification, classification, and nomenclature. We studied in detail about identification, classification, and nomenclature. We saw different types of classification, different methods of nomenclature, and finally, we studied about the taxonomical aids. Okay, so this is all that we had to study in this particular chapter. From the next video lecture, we are going to start the second chapter, that is biological classification. So stay tuned and stay safe. Thank you.